Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the February 6th Board of Trustees meeting, and happy Black History Month. Will we all please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Would you please call the roll, Camille?
Present. Present.
Present.
Present.
Present. And today we have a few appointments. For those of you who are not familiar with the Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission, we started the commission last year and we appointed 3 members. But in order for us to be eligible for grants and other state aid, we need to have 5 members. So we will be appointing 2 new members today to the Historic Preservation Commission. So may I have a motion to appoint Samara Abrams with a term to expire March 31st, 2027, and former Mayor Greg Luisi for a term to expire March 31st, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Samara and Mayor Luisi, for your service. And Luisi, you thought you'd get away from us, huh? So we appreciate, would you like to come up, Jenny? And so Jenny is the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission.
Yes, Mayor and Dean, members of the board. Jenny Steinhagen.
Okay, hold on, let's see, our AV guy's off his game. I think you're good now.
Okay.
Yep. Yes. Good. We like volume.
Mayor and Dean, members of the board, Jenny Steinhagen, South High Street. It's been an honor and a privilege to be serving as the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission. And we had a pretty stellar team to begin with, if I may say so myself, with Josh Gaccion and Ladislao Castellanos. But now with the appointment of Samara and Greg, former Mayor Luisi, we are just an amazing group. They bring so much to the table. Sam has studied archaeology. She's done digs in Europe. She's studied classics and law. And Greg, as we know, has an incredible passion for the village, does so much, and really legitimately loves the history of this village like I know you all do and have empowered us to do. So thank you for your leadership and for your support and for giving us what we need to do the best job that we can for the village.
Thank you very much, Jenny.
Thank you.
So if Samara and or Mayor Luisi would like to come forward and say a few words, you can. You don't have to. Ladies first.
I'll move it down. Hi, Samara Abrams. I live up on Bella Vista Street, and I would like to say thank you. I'm so excited. This is such a great initiative that the town is doing, and it's an honor and a privilege for me as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Hi, everybody.
Long time no see.
Yes, I would. So I'd just like to thank the board for considering me for this position, and I am honored that I've been appointed to this commission. And you know how I love the legacy of Tuckahoe, and I'm proud to be part of this team and to continue this legacy. So thank
That's
you.
great.
All.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Thank you. So the next appointment is for the position of a member of the Community Development Advisory Group. This committee is comprised of 31 members, and they report to the county executive through the planning department. They meet 4 times a year, and they advise the county on HUD programs and priorities. They approve submission of local proposals for the CDBG consortium. And as you guys may or may not know, we're a part of the Community Block Grant Consortium. And so they have proposals that they look at and review. They also do home investment partnership and emergency shelter grant programs. So they review a lot of these programs that help communities that need it the most in the county, and it's important for us to have somebody representing Tuckahoe there. So I'm asking for a motion to appoint Steve Celestino as the Community Development Advisory Group representative for Tuckahoe.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and I think tonight my favorite part of our meeting is going to be what we're going to do now. I'm going to be presenting a proclamation to son of Tuckahoe, Maxwell Pierce. And so I'd like Max to come forward and his family to join him if they don't mind. Testing, yep. So for those of you who do not know Max Pierce, he is a wonderful young man. Son to Gina Billups Pierce and grandson to Lovely Billups, whom you all know is the real mayor of Tuckahoe. I just sort of take the spot when she's not available. So, but in all honesty, I have such an affection for Max. He is such a wonderful young man. Not only is he talented and thoughtful and caring, he's a servant. And so he's done so much in Tuckahoe, and I've been thinking a lot about all the different programs, and you have a few people here that could, will speak to the work that you do. But I want to read the proclamation so you all can hear, and this is really just a fraction of some of the work that he's done. So this proclamation, the mayor of the village of Tuckahoe and the board of trustees honor Maxwell Pierce for his many achievements and his impact on the young people in Tuckahoe and the community at large. Max attended Tuckahoe High School, where he continues to mentor and still supports the Tuckahoe Middle and High School basketball teams, including awarding the Max Pierce Student Athlete Scholarship to a Tuckahoe High School student athlete that flourishes on the court and in the classroom. Whereas Max Pierce while at Purchase College, won the first Shark Tank business startup competition and used his grand prize money to start the Finance organization, which aims to prepare student athletes for transition out of sports and onto the next phase of life. Max Pierce is currently a Harlem Globetrotter and is known as one of the best dunkers in the world for creating several viral dunk videos, including the 2020 dunk video that had more than, hear this, 1 billion views, and was featured on the Kobe Bryant episode of MTV's Ridiculousness on CBS, SportsCenter, Nickelodeon, and many others. Max is an athlete activist and had his first solo art show, which I had the privilege of going to see in Miami, The Art of an Athlete, which debuted in Miami Art Basel 2022, a collection that highlights sports figures who've used their platforms to fight for social justice throughout history. The show was covered by Black Enterprise, Forbes, CBS, and featured an all-women's panel discussion. Max Pierce worked with Backyard Sports mentoring young athletes in Tuckahoe. He worked with ECAP Youth and sponsored the Hoop Fest 2022. He also recognized the Tuckahoe Girls Varsity Championship team and was keynote speaker at the 2020 Tuckahoe Juneteenth event. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Omaira Andino, Mayor of the Village of Tuckahoe, on behalf of the entire Board of Trustees and its residents, extend to Max congratulations on his many accomplishments. As an athlete, artist, and activist, we further extend a heartfelt thank you and deep appreciation for Max's demonstration of love in action for the youth in Tuckahoe and beyond, for using his influence and platform to raise awareness regarding social injustices, and for inspiring us all to do our part to make our communities and the world better. And that's all we could fit on the page.
That's it. Oh my goodness. Well, thank you guys, everybody who came out tonight. Um, I've been here in Tuckahoe for going on 22 years now. I'm 26. So it's been a majority of my life. All of the significant years of my life have been spent here in Tuckahoe, and that's really what counts. Um, Everywhere I go, I've had the chance to be in 11 different countries, almost all 50 states in the last 5 years alone. And everywhere I go, I keep Tuckahoe in mind. I think Tuckahoe has really molded me to be a person who remembers where they come from because as all of you guys know, Tuckahoe is a tiny dot on the map. And so whenever I'm out there, I operate with the approach of I need to be sure that people know what Tuckahoe is, what they're about, what kinds of people can come from Tuckahoe. So, to be able to travel and accomplish some of the things that I have, it's a credit to all of you guys because it really does take a village to raise a person. And I want to be sure that you guys feel that thank you and that appreciation from me. Chief Costanzo, you've been a part of my journey. Dylan, you've been a part of my journey. Denise, you've been a part of my journey. Justin, DJ, Mr. Murray, so many people. So I want to say thank you to you guys because without the contributions of you all, I would not be standing here right now with Omira. And then lastly, I want to thank, well, not lastly, but Omira, I want to thank you. You have been such an encouragement to my journey thus far. Just seeing how you've come into Tuckahoe or have been in Tuckahoe and have really tried to promote growth and improvement in areas where we really needed it the most has definitely inspired me to keep going in that vein. And then lastly to you too, the matriarch. This is my grandmother for, I'm sure you all know because she has let you know whether you asked or you didn't. But I thank you guys so much. I think, my passion and my fire, although it came late, at least it came, but my passion and my fire for things that really matter have come from you. I don't know why you're surprised. And then my grace and my patience has definitely come from you. So I think it's such a great combination of things. It's such a great combination of qualities to have, and I'm fortunate enough to have them come from two of the most important people in my family. But yeah, so thank you guys again. I'm truly honored, and I'm so glad that I come from Tuckahoe.
If there's anybody that would like to come and offer congratulations, you may do so.
I'll leave it in here. All right. I just wanted to say congratulations to Max. You're not here to hear from me, but I just want to give Max a shout out on something that I think makes Max very different than a lot of other people. I met Max in college. I met Max through basketball. I now work in community programs. Was introduced to the Tuckahoe community through youth development programs we do with Denise and ECAP, and we're trying to provide access for children to quality sports and recreational programming. And so, working in community programs the last 10 years or so, we work with a lot of athletes, we work with a lot of community partners and corporate sponsors, and you name it. And sometimes it feels like support you're getting is checking a box or, doing something because you feel like it's the right thing to do and, kind of checking it off your list. And, so the shout out for Max is he's doesn't operate in a way to check a box. He's operating in a way where he, really wants to have a conversation. We'll sit down, have a conversation for an hour, 2 hours, really try and figure out, no matter how much he has going on, he's traveling the world, he's playing for the Globetrotters, he's setting records, he's doing an art show in Miami, which somehow I didn't even know that he had that ticket a couple of months ago. And he still finds time not just to check the box and, show his face for 20 minutes, but to actually really dive into the issues and figure out how he can make his community stronger. So that's an inspiration for me and hopefully for a lot of other people, and I know definitely for the kids in the community. So.
You're welcome to sit down if you want. You can.
Not 100%. I might. So.
Because my two grandchildren at Tuckahoe schools are going, and they hope they're seeing me. No pressure, no pressure.
Normal
Oops.
circumstances, I would. The last announcement that I have, me and two other teammates will be on Good Morning America on Saturday to talk about the connection of the Globetrotters' contribution between Black history and how it will go down. So I will not be at those.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Jim Murray, 29 Washington Street, Tuckahoe. I came here for two reasons. Normally, we have a meeting that same night you have meetings, so reason I'm not here. This is my first time, but I'm happy to be here, and I had to be here. Max, I've known Max since he was a baby, and the whole family. I've been in Tuckahoe for over 75 years, and I love Tuckahoe. And I had to be here tonight. I lost my grandson 2 years ago, and he was 23 years old. And he knew Max. I didn't know how close they were. And Max painted a picture of my grandson. It's hanging on my daughter's wall right now in the living room. Identical. I mean, he's an artist, not just a basketball player. He's good. I mean, he's excellent. And that picture just stands out when you walk into the living room. I want to thank you again for that. And he bought it, rang the bell, gave it to us, and it was just a blessing at a time like that. So I just want to thank you again and all of your accomplishments, all that you're doing, all of the young people that are looking at you, and old and young, just watching you grow. And thanks to your family for all that they've done to raise you the way you are. And we're going to keep an eye on you, and I'm waiting for you to come to the into New York with the Globetrotters. Normally it's in February in the years past.
Normally it is.
Yeah, so whenever it is, we'll be there. Congratulations.
So when I met Max, he was painting white lines. He wasn't painting portraits. He was a seasonal helper with the police department. And his incredible demeanor and his smile and just the way he brightened up the room when he came in, we knew that he was going to go places, and his work ethic really that he brought to just a seasonal job. So as talented as Max is as an athlete, I think what defines him is his character. What a good person, what a great person. And I really think that these accolades that you've earned so far will pale in comparison what the future brings to you. So congratulations.
Anyone else? Justin, are you trying to come up? You're welcome to.
I just wanted to say congratulations. You inspired me and others. You really impacted Tuckahoe, and you put Tuckahoe on the map. So congratulations.
How's it going, Dad?
How's it going, Dad?
Yeah, Trustees here over there. From a family of talkers, so I'll make it brief. Just want to thank the three of you, to welcome me into your home. It's really like my second home, and Max, like, it's like the chief said, through all of his accomplishments, the humility, I want him to kind of be a symbol of just community, because like this is what government is. This is what Tuckahoe is. It's a small village, but it really is like just it's what zero point 0.9 square miles, and it's everything in our hearts. So I just want to thank Max for just through all his accomplishments. It's really he'll send you a long paragraph on your birthday, and that just goes a long way. It's just really the humility compounds, and he gets that from his loving family. So just congratulations again.
You guys tired of standing?
Rest.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks again.
Love you.
Thanks,
Thank
Max.
you.
Don't worry.
The mayor is waving at me. I am Denise from ECAP, and Max is having such a great impact on 30 students at ECAP. Mac has been blessed not only as an athlete, a lot of people don't know you as an artist. Can you imagine when Max came to do an art class with the kids, and 2 weeks ago he was on the basketball court with them? They were like, what? What? He has been blessed with talent. Max, you are relatable. And when I say relatable, I'm not just talking to our little kids that we have at ECAP, but I'm talking to all. And everybody in this room is a testimony to him being relatable. So it's one thing to be talented, but to be able to impart that to others is the true gift. And as Dylan has mentioned, he is accessible. Pick up the phone and I'll get Max. So no matter how far you travel and how large you get, I know you will still be accessible to us. Congratulations, Max.
Wow. Thank you, Max. This is a young man, wise beyond his years. So the next presentation that we have is from the Tuckahoe History Corner. I believe Nick Zanzano is going to do this on the Bentley Building.
I'm happy to be here tonight. Tonight we're going to do technically our first historian corner. And as part of our Tuckahoe History Outreach Program, the Tuckahoe History Committee, first historian corner will look at the Bentley Building at Main Street and Lake Avenue. This is the home of the Tuckahoe Station Cafe. If we can get the first slide. The way we set up the slides for the program, it's really changed over time. We're going to show what Tuckahoe looks like today, and we're going to digress back. And tonight we're going to go back about 173 years.
Great to have young people on the Zoom.
Okay, the next slide. Okay, this is the Bentley Building. On the extreme right is Malcolm Wilson Park, and on the left is the original Cornell hardware store. The Bentley Building was built in 1927, and this photograph is pretty current. It's 2019. Next slide. I took this photograph from a distance. I wanted to show the 4-lane bridge looking at the Bentley Building, and we have the Riverview condos on the right, and we also have the Main Street Depot Mall on the right. Now let's go back. This is roughly current, and we're going to go back now to 1950s. Next slide. wow, if we still had the two-lane bridge, I could imagine getting through Tuckahoe. It just wouldn't happen. So our predecessors made the right decision of increasing the bridge. The two-lane bridge was built in 1911, and it was expanded to the four-lane in 1999. As you can see in this photograph, there are no traffic lights. On the right-hand side, you could just make out the retail stores where the parking lot is today. Next slide. This photograph is looking away from the Bentley building. I wanted to let people see what Main Street looked like in this area back in the 1950s, where the Main Street Depot Mall is, were all retail stores on the left-hand side of the street. And instead of a traffic light, we had a traffic signal in the middle of the road. It blinked, told you to keep right, and you hoped that people could read. Next slide. I put this photograph in. This is in the 50s. And if you look at the Bentley building on the left-hand side, what I liked was the Tuckahoe welcome sign that was mounted on the building. If you go there today, you could still see the brackets, and my goal is to see if I can find the sign. This is the intersection with Yonkers Avenue, Scarsdale Road, and on the right-hand side, at this time, that was Burroughs Welcome. Next photo. This is still the same intersection, but this is before the Bentley building was built. We had the Fisher building. The Fisher building was built in 1870, and it was torn down in the mid-1920s. The first floor was a grocery store at that time, and the second floor was the Masonic Hall. This was before the Masonic Temple was built. All the Masonic meetings were held here. Again, Masonic Hall was in operation from 1886 until 1922, when the Masonic Temple was built. This photo's circa about 1920. On the extreme left-hand side, you could see a building that's Cornell's, and the Cornell Hardware building was built in 1919. Next photo. I like this photo. It gives you more of a lay of the land. You could see the Fisher building, and then adjacent to it, an empty lot, and the Cornell building. Behind the Cornell building in the upper center, you could make out the cotton mill. On the right-hand side of the screen, that's Hodgman Rubber at this time. And just a little aside, in front of Cornell Hardware across Lake Avenue, there's a little structure. That was called a bean wagon at the time. There was so many employees in Hodgman Rubber that to feed the people, they had a mobile luncheonette. Next slide. I wouldn't eat here, but this is a bean wagon, and they had light fare, but at least the workers at Hodgman Rubber had a place to eat. These were mobile. In the earlier days, it was driven around Tuckahoe by horse, and later on with a vehicle, with a car. Next photo. This photo goes back to about 1850. In the center of the screen is Main Street, pretty much a dirt road, and the little shop at the center, top center, is the Duesenberry General Store. You can see the horse and carriage in front. The railroad was at grade level at this time. And basically, the railroad started in 1838. It got to Tuckahoe in 1844. In the far right-hand corner, you could make out the cotton mill. And where the white picket fence is, that's where the parking lot is today for the Main Street Depot. On the upper left-hand corner was the Dusenberry House. The Dusenberry House was in the center of Lake Avenue going south. And the building was eventually lifted and moved to where Parkway Casino is today on Yonkers Avenue. And again, this is in roughly 1850. So we've covered pretty quick, but we've covered about 173 years for this one intersection. And I think change over time does show, it shows new residents. They know where they know where we are, and then we take them back. And I think everybody, no matter if you're new or an old timer, you could appreciate the photos. So again, part of our outreach, and hopefully everybody finds it interesting.
Very much so. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. There's more.
My mentor, the town historian, Richard Forliano, wants to say a few words.
Okay.
Mentor is not the right word. We collaborate together. And I just wanted to make one quick announcement. Well, two quick announcements. First of all, almost every Wednesday, the Tuckahoe History Committee, Nick, myself, we're here. And anytime you want to learn something, and I learn something every new when I sit down with Nick and collaborate about the history of Tuckahoe. The Eastchester Public Library asked me to make a presentation, and it's really a combination of two. I speak for, as town historian, I speak for the Eastchester Town Board, but I also speak for the Eastchester Historical Society and the Tuckahoe History Committee. So let me read my quick announcement. On a week from Sunday, February 19th, a presentation will be made at the Eastchester Public Library, and the title of the presentation is An Eastchester History of African Americans from Colonial Times to Martin Luther King's March on Washington. The general public is invited. Just let the library know. And I just want to invite all of you.
What time?
Since the 350th, we've uncovered a lot of new sources, and you'll learn a lot about not just about the history of Eastchester, but how Tuckahoe was really a center of what happened at this time. And the last thing I want to say is, Jimmy, I played basketball against you in 1962, and you had one of the best jump shots I've ever seen.
Sorry, can you tell us the time for the 19th?
2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm not good on detail.
It's okay. It's okay. So we just have one final presentation from our veteran and a Tuckahoe Historic Preservation Commission member, Josh Gaccione, on a Black History Month presentation on veterans.
Dick, that was a great segue. Thank you. Appreciate it. Josh Gaccione, Bella Vista Street. Mayor, trustees, thank you for giving me a few minutes here this evening. As we all know, it's Black History Month, and I want to thank our friend Adrienne Michelle, who's not here this evening, for yielding me some of her time to talk about something that I think we're all going to find very interesting. As a combat war veteran and as a historian, this month allows me, and people like me, to put a microscope on topics that nerds like me look at all year long. When it comes to Black history, one of the problems that we run into as educators is that we highlight the cruelties of the slave trade, and then we jump to the presidency of Barack Obama, and we sandwich that with a little bit of Dr. Martin Luther King, maybe a sprinkle of Rosa Parks, and maybe, if you're really wild, some Malcolm X, right? But there are countless acts of heroism and bona fide heroes in the black community that deserve places in the textbooks and enriching the lives of our children. And one of those heroes I'm going to talk about today is Robert Smalls. And if you want to cue the slides. I actually have a cardboard cutout
John's like, what slides?
of Robert Smalls, but I didn't have the courage to bring it with me. I know I should have brought it. It's a life-size. It's really good. Sure. But while we're waiting, I'll tell you, we actually have a family member, a descendant of Robert Smalls II, who was an Air Force veteran. And he was one of my students at Westchester Community College. He's gone on to Columbia now and some other things. But he couldn't be here this evening to kind of say a few comments, but he's generally available. And he's a brilliant individual who really lives up to his family history. And you'll see what I mean once we get there.
Thank you all for being patient. Some technical difficulties today.
Now, Josh, I am going to expect that the cutout is in a window that I can see from my house. I live across the street from Josh, so I'm going to be looking for Mr. Smalls in a window in your household tonight.
I'm giving a longer presentation to charter school later on in the month, and I'm going to bring him with me there for sure. So we will have the.
No. Okay. Are we waiting for something?
I was waiting for the slide.
No, not you. I was asking John and David.
It's on here. It's on the screen.
But we can't see it. You did it before. So I think John had to do a screen share. I have a feeling Carlos could solve this problem.
If it doesn't come up, I can kind of go through anyway. It's up to you.
Yes.
Okay. But if you get it to come up,
Just keep trying.
We'll bounce back. Cool. So a young Robert Smalls lived in Beaufort, South Carolina, between Charleston to the north and Hilton Head to the south. And need I remind you, this is not the golf-playing, beach-going, seafood-enjoying South Carolina where we vacation today. Robert's parents, Lydia and Henry, were both enslaved. And Robert, for whatever reason, was favored among the others. His own mother actually asked that he be sent to the fields to work to see how bad some of his kin had it. So remember that when you get mad at your parents. As a teen, he was hired out primarily working as a longshoreman, working on rigs and sails. Little by little, he became a wheelman, someone who could navigate the sails on ships, while he was never allowed to hold the title of helmsman, which would have ranked him above the whites and the blacks on the ship. He got to know the harbors around Charleston very well. And for those of you who have been down there, you know what it's like with the causeways and the inlets, and it's mind-numbing with a GPS, never mind with a compass and a hope and a prayer. He married at 17 to the love of his life, Hannah, who brought 2 daughters into their marriage. She was 5 years his senior. And he would work tirelessly to save enough money to try and purchase their freedom. But with the overseer taking a majority of his earnings, this is just something that would really never happen in his lifetime. With the onset of Civil War in 1861, Robert, by this time, was an expert navigator and pilot, and he was assigned as wheelman for the CSS Planter, which was part of the Confederacy's Navy. The planter's job was to lay mines, transport troops, and deliver dispatches, and Small's job was to navigate the waterways. He gained the trust of the rebel soldiers and the other enslaved folks on board. On May 12, 1862, he served as wheelman, while the Confederates were disbanding a fort on the Stono River and bringing the guns and ammunition to Charleston Harbor. It was custom for the Confederate troops at the end of the day, if they were in the area, to kind of go back to their homes in the evening and leave the ship. And so on this night, they did the same thing. But Robert Smalls that evening had suggested that perhaps the families of the enslaved crew come on board that evening, which was a custom that they would have to kind of keep up morale and keep the work going well. With the families on board, the CSS Planter, loaded with cannons, ammunition, and Robert Smalls as the helmsman, executed a plan that would save himself, his family, and hundreds of enslaved South Carolinians. Now, this plan had been known by some, but took others aback. It was his wife who boldly stated, loud enough for everybody to hear, "It is a risk, dear, but you and I and our little ones must be free. I will go, for where you die, I will die." And everyone followed. And that is a ride or die woman right there. So that's a keeper. To escape, Smalls had to pass through checkpoints at the Battery and then pass Fort Sumter at the mouth of the Atlantic. He lacked both, oh, I'm going to be on camera for this, so this is good. He lacked both a Jedi to tell the harbor masters, this is not the ship you're looking for, and the type of technology to radio ahead that was still 35 years away. But what he did have was an expert knowledge of the Confederate code book, and he was able to ruse not one, but two sets of watchmen through signaling. It was not until the CSS Planter was safely out of reach of the guns of the Confederates that they knew the ship was gone. He sailed toward Union waters and was almost blasted by a northern ship, the USS Onward. Ipso facto, Smalls surrendered the Planter and its guns and ammunition, and the freed folk were now in safer territories to begin their lives. And for anybody else, this would have been a life's work. You could hang your hat and live happy, knowing the good deeds you had done, but not for Robert Smalls. In the interest of time, I'll just say that he went on to enlist in the U.S. Navy and became commissioned as a captain because of his expert skills and knowledge. And he went on to pilot the Ironside USS Keokuk. He fought successfully in many battles, including Simon's Bluff, the Second Battle of Pocatello, the Second Battle of Fort Sumter, and supported General Sherman's march to the sea. After the war, he still knew he could serve his people. He was elected to the House of Representatives, the U.S. House of Representatives, for 2 terms until it was gerrymandered, and that's a whole other discussion. He went on to help finance and support black entrepreneurs, lifting all of the black communities in which he involved himself. There's a take on an old quote about cards and that you're dealt in life, and it goes, it's not so much about the cards you're dealt, it's a whole lot more about whether you play them well or play them at all. Robert Smalls could have shrunk with the cards that he was dealt. He could have thrown them back on the table or just quit altogether. Not only did he play his cards masterfully, he brought his community up with his winning hand. And that message of bringing your community up is why we should celebrate the life of Robert Smalls and many others like him, like we already saw today. Mm-hmm. Not only during Black History Month, but every single day. So thank you for giving me some time. Mary, I have a few extra copies of some books, some children's books, and some adult books that I'm going to drop off to you, so in case anybody wants more information. And I'll have the presentation available too, which has some cool primary sources on it.
That's great. Thanks so much. Thank you. So we're going to move on to public hearings. Last month, we opened the public hearing to consider a local law modifying the speed limit from 30 to 25 miles per hour. The hearing is still open, so if there's anyone who would like to weigh in on reducing the speed limit from 30 to 25, you may come forward now and weigh in. Anyone in person? Come on up.
Good evening, Anthony Fiore, 3 Minden Place. Just one question, I think, for the chief. It's going to be 25 on Columbus and everything. Now, once the school opens up, is there gonna be a lower speed limit on there? Like
I'm
15, like school?
so
Yeah.
right. So the way right, if the whatever it is now, it would be reduced.
Like a boom, boom, then boom.
Right. I think that's it. Boom, boom, and boom. Anyone else? Anybody on Zoom, John, who would like to weigh in? Okay. And you can ask them to unmute. Sometimes people don't know how to raise their hand. Okay. If there isn't anyone else, unless there's somebody on the board who would like to comment or weigh in, I will ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor to close the hearing?
Aye.
Any opposed? So I will move forward to resolution number 1, asking for a motion to authorize a proposed local law modifying the village code to reduce the maximum speed limit in the village of Tuckahoe from 30 to 25 miles per hour. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so what we will do now, the speed limit will not change tomorrow, so nobody panic. We have some work to do, some education and campaigning. We have to get the signs up. And so you will hear more information. It'll probably be in a few months before we actually begin to put the signs up and start enforcing the new speed limit. Just a quick, may I have the motion to approve the minutes of the January 9th meeting?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'm going to go back up to first opportunity to address the board on any agenda items. If there's anybody who has anything that they'd like to address on the agenda, you may do so now. Okay. So I'll move to resolution number 2, authorizing the setting of a public hearing to consider a proposed local law increasing the veteran property tax exemption. And David, this is what I wanted you to explain a bit. So maybe Gary, you can do that?
Sure. So what happens is if you're a veteran or a surviving spouse of a veteran, you're entitled here to an exemption on your taxes, which is a nice benefit. This increases that exemption, so they'll be getting a little bit more money back. And I think the state has allowed us to do that. So we're following suit and saying, yes, we're going to do that if you're so inclined. And hear from the public.
All right. So we will set a public hearing to consider this proposed local law for the March meeting. So may I have a motion to set the public hearing for this local law? It's not to pass the law. It's just to set a public hearing, just for the residents to be aware.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And resolution number 3, I ask for a motion to authorize setting a public hearing for March 6th to consider a recommendation by the Historic Preservation Commission to designate the Washington Hotel located at 101 Main Street as a local landmark.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? So for those of you who plan on coming to the March 6th meeting, we will have 2 public hearings set for that day. Resolution number 4, authorizing a parking ticket amnesty program from March 1st through May 31st, 2023 for all unpaid tickets at a 50% reduction. That's not a mistake. 50% reduction from the current owned amounts for tickets outstanding in excess of 15 days. So this amnesty program will allow us to discount anyone who has tickets between March and May. You will have a 50% reduction in those tickets if you pay them within that period of time. And that helps us because we get to take some of that off of our books. It helps you because you get a nice discount if you have some tickets that you'd like to get rid of. Now's a good time to think about doing so. So may I have a motion for authorizing this ticket amnesty program?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Get rid of your tickets. Number 5 is authorizing an amendment of the lease agreement with Management Organization Support Services, LLC. That is our lease with Cornerstone Children's Center downstairs. May I have a motion to amend the lease agreement?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, and we want to support the Garibaldi Lodge Scholarship Fund, so I'm asking for a motion to authorize a contribution of $200 to the scholarship fund.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And resolution number 7, a motion asking for the closing of the projects for the Village Hall elevator as well as court upgrades, mostly the fireproof, what is it? What is it, David? The bulletproof. See, I don't even want to use the word bullet or gun or anything. I had a brain fog there. So I just need a motion to authorize the closing of these capital projects.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? And our final resolution authorizing the approval of vouchers in the amount of $501,289.51 to pay the bills.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, great. And that'll take us to departmental reports. And Chief, would you come forward? And this is John Costanzo, Chief of Police in Tuckahoe. I'm saying that because people say, you act like we know everybody. Can you tell us who they are? So I'm trying to do better.
Thank you. I think there's 2 people out there that doesn't know. Just very quickly, I just want to thank the Immaculate Conception School, Mrs. D'Angelo in particular, for inviting members of the Tuckahoe Police Department to their annual first responder mass at the church, and followed by a reception in the cafeteria, particularly the 4th grade and the 8th grade, who are active participants. It was a really nice morning. Members of our department, as well as Eastchester Police Department, members of Yonkers Police Department, and Eastchester Fire Department, and Eastchester Volunteer Ambulance Corps were invited. It was a good time with the young children,
Nice.
and we thank them for that. I want to congratulate Police Officer Brian Madden. Brian just completed 2 weeks of DARE instructor school on Friday. Brian will be teaching the middle school component of the DARE program at the Tuckahoe Middle School. He will be joining Police Officer Evan Piasta, who teaches at the Cottle School. So we want to welcome Brian to becoming a DARE instructor. Brian is involved with our Explorer program. He does a great job with that program, along with Police Officer Stephen McCann. And Brian will be attending Youth Officers School later on this spring. So congratulations to Brian. He's doing a wonderful job with our young people, and we look forward to him continuing that.
Chief, for those who may not know, can you just tell everyone what the DARE program is?
So DARE is the acronym for Drug Awareness and Resistant Education Program. It's taught at the Tuckahoe schools at the 5th grade level in the William E. Cottle School, and then it's taught in the middle school as well as the high school components by members of the Tuckahoe Police Department. It's to educate people, obviously, on not only drug and alcohol abuse and awareness, but also tobacco use, as well as bullying and school violence.
Right. Thank you.
And then just finally, I guess that's unfortunately a segue into what I want to speak about next. On the heels of the tragic death of Tyree Nichols in the hands of Memphis, Tennessee police officers, I know, Mayor, you have spoken to me. You have gotten inquiries from members of the public on what we do at the Tuckahoe Police Department to be certain that nothing like that would ever happen. And of course, it comes down to the people we hire, supervision and oversight as the number 1 components, but of course training. Today was the 2nd day of finishing up our yearly in-service training with the entire membership of Tuckahoe Police Department. And of course, there's a use of force component that's always taught every single year as a reinforcement. So that training was completed. I have every confidence, of course, that no member of Tuckahoe Police Department would ever do what we saw on the video, but reinforcing that training, and also, there's in our policy, and the policy is on our website, is a duty to intercede, and we reinforce that, of course, with our own members, because as we saw in the Tennessee incident, there were not only members of the Memphis Police Department there, but there were members of the Sheriff's Office who could have interceded and they did not. So in our case, when sometimes there are pursuits that begin in Tuckahoe and end elsewhere, or start elsewhere and end in Tuckahoe, that our officers absolutely have that duty to intercede, and they know that, and that was reinforced in our training.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Any questions from the board? Okay.
No,
Thanks,
thank you.
Chief. Frank Costanzo, Superintendent of DPW. Frank DeMarco, Superintendent of DPW.
I announce myself.
Frank.
Frank DeMarco, Superintendent. For those of you that don't know me.
It's one of those days, Frank, one of those
Members of the
days.
board. I just wanted to take this opportunity to also congratulate Max and his family on all his accomplishments. I know the family for a long time, and I remember Max when he was young. Never really knew him that well, but I know the family very well. But congratulations. I don't know where to begin. I have so much to say. But I'm going to begin with snow. There's no snow in the forecast. This has been really unprecedented, unseasonable year. The weather's been warm. And while DPW waits for that first snowflake, it gives us the opportunity to catch up on many other things that people don't realize we do. Tree planting, we planted almost 85 trees so far this late season. Tree trimming, sidewalk work, curb work, underground infrastructure maintenance and repair, whether it be sewer, stormwater, inspections, road repairs. It's just a number of things that we do this time every year. And also making sure, touching base with residents that have had issues over the years that have been patient enough to wait for us to get to their home to make these necessary repairs. I say thank you for your patience as well. And that's all I really have as far as what we're doing. I mean, the snow is not here yet. We're ready. Our trucks and equipment are ready to go. And if we don't have it, I just hope we get a little snow for these children that are just dying to play in a playful amount of snow. I'm not going to mention amounts, but just enough so they could sleigh ride and enjoy that snow and that white scenery that just looks so beautiful. I'm going to go on to talk about Armavilla, Lake Avenue. A lot of people don't know what's going on. I'm constantly being asked. So I'm going to simplify it as best as I can. What they're doing is upgrading the gas lines, the main gas lines that are running into our roads and also veer off into each home. They're replacing all those lines. And the reason they're replacing those lines, because I think they're like 125 years old, and I think they're tired of repairing these leaks. It's very unsafe. So the police department, David, myself, we try to figure out a time frame where it works for everybody, where their windows are closed, they're not hearing these plates banging, so we're doing the best we can to simplify this work, make sure it's expedited quickly, and make sure, most importantly, that the residents are happy. We have met a couple of times out there with the residents with the plates banging, and we tried to take care of that, and I think we did. This project is going to go on until April. I think they started early January, late December, and it's moving pretty quick for the amount of work that needs to be done here. So I'm asking everybody, please be patient. It's really a necessity. We wanted to get the workings in place because when it creates a dangerous situation where you do have gas leaks, it's not something we want to fool around with, so we'd like to get it done. With that said, when the project is completed in April, those roads will get repaved by Con Edison. It'll be Armavilla, Lower Lake Avenue, Triangle, and Garrett. If anybody has any further questions, they could always call me.
And this really speaks, Frank, to the importance of infrastructure and taking care of it. And a lot of times people don't want to spend the money taking care of it, and then we wind up in this predicament.
Out of sight, out of mind. People don't realize we have dangerous gases on. We have dangerous infrastructures on
Yeah.
our roads that need to be taken care of.
Okay.
Yes. Next, last but not least, I'm going to be talking about our EV charging stations in Tuckahoe. We finally completed all the installations. It's been a nightmare. Dealing with NYSERDA, dealing with Con Edison. I don't think they realized, Con Edison wasn't really coordinating with NYSERDA, and none of them realized the extent and the amount of work that was needed to get all these stations in place. Especially Tuckahoe planted a lot of these EV stations in areas that didn't have any electrical current at all, so that had to be brought over by Con Edison. So the lack of communication with everyone and really a new program for everyone, it just took so long. But we're finally there. NYSERDA, Blink, which is the EV charging station company, and Con Edison would like to move forward with Tuckahoe and doing a press release,
Right.
hopefully in the next month or so. And that's all I have. Any questions?
Frank, can I ask a question? So my street, this is very selfish in some regards, but my street was benefited from 2 trees that were planted this week. And I have to say, I scratched my head a little bit. I'm thinking, isn't the ground frozen? Like, don't we do planting of trees in the spring? And can you talk us through, like, why we're planting trees in February?
Well, the weather has been pretty
Mild.
unprecedented. I mean, it's unseasonable. It's been in the 50s. The best time to plant a tree is late fall, early spring, when it's around this temperature. Trees stay dormant. They don't get shocked as well or as easy, and they just stay dormant in the ground until the season takes.
Excellent. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
You Ginger, the portion where you can make comments is not quite, we're not quite there yet. Hold on to that thought. Write it down. Swadish. Swadish is our library director.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I just want to let you know, in celebration of Black History Month, we are honored to present an in-person author talk. Mr. A.G. Woodson, founder and editor of Black Westchester magazine and author of new book, Black Westchester Celebrates Black Women of Westchester. And we are looking forward to learning about the incredibly accomplished women in our community, including our own mayor. And Dino, you are included in that book.
I heard. Thank you.
And this event is going to be on Thursday, February 23rd at 4 p.m. And for children, we have African American History Sticker Book, which is going to be on Wednesday, February 15 at 4 p.m. for children grade 3 to 8. They will learn about some of most famous African American historical figures by building their own sticker book, and they can take it home also. So we have a lot of new exciting programs. Today we started virtual senior strength training program, which is it was at 5:15, and this was the first program, and we have 41 people signed up for that program. And we also doing ESL classes every Wednesday. It's 11 o'clock at the community center, and it's it's a great turnout. We had 2 classes, and every class has like 12 people who are attending. And we also started new knitting club on Mondays at 1 p.m. So people there, we supply the knitting stuff and needles, and some people, if they have their own project, they can come and join. And financial planning also is going to be Tuesday, February 7th at 6:30 p.m. This is a program who is going to, it's going to be presented by our local resident, Harmeet Gandhi, and he is a CFA and educator, teacher, and financial tech entrepreneur. And this program is on Tuesday, February 7th at 6:30 p.m. And he will provide members about the financial health, taking control of their financial situation and plans for the future. And we have for craft program for Valentine's Day, if anybody wants to make a gift, it's a wire wrap pendant with Miss Lisa on Monday, February 13 and 3:30 p.m. And sewing classes are back by great demand, and right now we are offering 2 classes for the people who are on waiting list. Going to be Monday, February 13 and Monday, February 22nd. And I know everybody wants to keep their house organized and clean. We are offering Spark Joy with Karen Saki. Tidying up has never been so much fun. It's going to be on Wednesday, February 15 and 7 p.m.
I don't believe it.
That's
There's no fun in that.
Let's see how she picks up fun. And then we have a special author talk, another Stephen Paul DeVillo. He's coming on Wednesday, February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. He's the author of George Washington, The Battle of White Plains, Washington, How in White Plains, and the campaign that led up to it. And our regular program for Valentine's Day also we offering an art class with Jessica, where people can paint Valentine Day roses, February 8th at 6 p.m. And memo writing, our monthly annual memo writing program is going to be Thursday, February 9th at 1 p.m. And our gentle chair yoga continues every Wednesday. And thank you so much, Nick, for your presentation. And I want to let you know that Nick is going to offer the program at Tuckahoe Library on Wednesday, March 1st at 6 p.m. And the title is The Turn of the Century, Tuckahoe with village historian Nick Zenzano. And for the children's and teens, we have Dungeon and Dragon program and a special cooking crew chocolate covered strawberry bouquet for teens, Thursday, February 9th at 4 p.m. And also we are going to do for teen Minecraft city building, Wednesday, February 22nd at 3:30 p.m. for grade 5th and 8th. And Minecraft for children grade 1 through 4 at on Wednesday, February 22nd and 2 p.m. And we have a lot of other programs. And please check our website. Any question, give us a call.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you have anything, Camille? Gary? David? It's like monk. Like monk.
Tonight's audiovisual technician that's been driving me bonkers all night. Good evening, Mayor and trustees. Apologize for the technical difficulties tonight. We were advised tonight that Verizon Channel 26 has not been working. It is on 34, so it looks like it's on Verizon's end, it's not our end, so apologies for that. Want to introduce a new administrative intern here at the village today. He gets full blame for all issues. As you can see, John Sullivan has started with us about 3 weeks ago as administrative intern, and he's going to be doing a lot of different things for us. He was appointed at last board meeting, so I just kind of wanted to say welcome. So everyone, I put the
Welcome,
camera
John.
on you, but I can't be in 2 places at once. Welcome, John. And then quickly, our traffic signal project is actually finally moving. We're actually seeing stuff going on. So if you notice that Main and Cameron and Fairview, it is actually up and running. The new lights are up, the new poles are up, and interestingly enough, there's a new technology where we're not doing the loops anymore, where you have to, run over the loops and it changes the signal. There's an actually infrared camera up there. So hopefully that'll make traffic more efficient.
So what does that camera do?
So
Can you
basically,
explain?
it's just gonna goes north, south, east, and west, and just when the cars approach, it will change. And hopefully, as the technology changes, so if a car is approaching from one way, it may not change immediately if it knows like more cars are coming from the other way. So hopefully, it'll be adaptive and kind of learn and be more efficient. It's not going to do anything to Columbus and Maine, I know, but you know what?
We're getting there.
One
We're getting there.
intersection at a time. So
We're getting there.
Hopefully, that's done. Fisher and Marbledale, they were working on it today. I'm not sure if they completed that or not, but that's the next one. And then Fisher, Columbus, and Midland, and Winter Hill.
Right, and again, going back to my previous statement, if you have all of this infrastructure that has not been dealt with, upgraded, maintained for decades, and now you're trying to do it. Everybody wants us to do it fast, but it doesn't work that way. So we're trying to get things done at a pace that is reasonable and affordable for you and me. Thanks, David.
Before I go back.
I think that's it. Thanks. All right, so that'll take us to trust. By the way, miscellaneous. There's an error on the agenda. The village board meeting is March 6th, not 7. The agenda says March 7th, so just make note of that. And that'll take us to trustee reports and trustee Engelbert.
Awesome. This will be my shortest one in the history of.
I'll be the judge of that.
Okay, so first, our librarian already suggested this, but our village historian, Nick Sanzano, is going to be presenting on Tuckahoe. Write it down on your calendar, March 1st at 6 p.m., turn of the century at Tuckahoe. On February 2nd, Chris Siegel presented posters and documents for the Tuckahoe seniors on the Tuskegee Airmen and Black Notables in honor of Black History Month. I'm just so impressed with kind of the pervasiveness and volume and quality of the work that we've been doing, that just the village has been doing on Black History Month. They're actually visitors, folks coming to Tuckahoe as Tuckahoe kind of leads the way, or if you see on our logo, On the Move. David Osborne, site manager of St. Paul's National Historic Site, we all know kind of that site in Mount Vernon, reviewed our collection and actually borrowed a few artifacts from the borough's welcome medical collection for a special exhibit at St. Paul's. There'll be details forthcoming kind of on that exhibit and how you can go down and see it. And then Korean veteran Tony Robasco, who I know is Kara's most favorite. Not that we're supposed to have any favorites. He also stopped by Village Hall on his 95th birthday, God bless him, to donate personal accounts and photos of his war experience.
She sent me a picture to make me jealous.
Oh.
She did. She did.
So funny. And this will be shared in a future Facebook post. Talking about Facebook, boy, these folks, I think you could kind of open a consulting firm on how to get social media done. An archival video of the ECAP, Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. breakfast from 2018. The reach was 2,892 with 308 post engagements. Boy, you guys are getting done. You don't have to be logged into Facebook to kind of check these posts out. So if you're a bit, kind of lurking on Facebook, you can still absolutely check these things out. They continue to collect, all these wonderful photos that Nick shared today. They're because the community is sharing kind of their photos and mementos and pieces that they have. So if you have any historic items that they'd like to be shared and digitized, it's tuckahoearchive@gmail.com. And as I said earlier, every Wednesday, 9:30 to 12, kind of right here in Village Hall. Community Center. Okay, so for the parents kind of out there, February 11th, 6:30 to 9:30, the Eastchester Rotary Foundation will be sponsoring a parent night out. I could use that. It's $30 a child, $10 for a sibling to benefit the Rotary. Contact Teresa Nichols she has an awesome email, novellaiscool@aol.com. The Tuckahoe Schools Bond Referendum. Be able to vote for that on Wednesday, February 15th from 6 a.m. to 9:30. I will kind of put out there kind of for the record, and I want you to kind of stay in your seats, kind of wanted to faint. Kind of on average, only between 5 and 10% of Americans vote in school board elections. So if you are qualified or eligible to vote in this bond election, kind of get yourself down to the community center and let's raise that percentage for America and Tuckahoe specifically. Lifeline screening on Tuesday, February 28th. You just need to text 212-719. I'm missing a number. I'll get that kind of out notes. Or you can contact, you can access on the website. It's llsa.social/8 HC. And then remember, during this President's Week holiday, get those young people's bodies moving off the couch onto the basketball court Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 1:30 to 4 p.m. And last but not least, the Tuckahoe Public Library. Stolen some of my ideas here. I had Harmeet kind of on the docket and his online financial planning class. But I do want to remind everyone to go out and renew your Friends of the Public Library membership. Forms are available at the library or on the website. And then the library is closed on the 20th in observance of President's Day. But otherwise, it's totally game on for the holiday week, including museum passes, hot spots, activities for the kids, really off the couch, in the library, or in the community center that week. That's it for me.
Thanks. Deputy Mayor Howell?
Thank you.
I like the applause today. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Thanks. For zoning and planning, first up zoning meeting will be held February 8th, and that'll be at 7:30 p.m., and it will be preceded with a work session at 6:45. In addition to 3 returning items that I had mentioned at the last village board meeting, there are 2 new ones. An area variance for 9 Oak Avenue to enlarge and replace an existing garage there. And at 269 Columbus Avenue, which is down by the train station, a special permit for a new business for a personal trainer. Planning Board will have their meeting on January 22nd at 7 p.m. The work session will be held tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. There are 2 site plans that'll be reviewed there. One will be for that personal trainer business at 269 Columbus Avenue, and the second one will be at 2 Grant Street for a barber shop, which I believe was a spa previously. Is that right? 2 Grant Avenue? All right. So barbershops seem to be all the rage. There's been a couple started in the area. We are still seeking applicants for the ad hoc zoning and planning positions. I wanted to thank some folks who've reached out already, but we're still looking for more candidates, so keep those applications coming. Just to give you an update on some of the properties in the area, first, the building or the lot that's at Lime Kiln on Lime Kiln Avenue, which was slated, and a plan has been presented and approved by the planning board already for apartment building there. Really nice design. That was on hold because the developer who originally bought it wanted to have another developer come in, and that has happened. So we're going to start to see movement on that lot finally, which is great. The restaurant building, unfortunately, on Marbledale remains in limbo. There's still some things that have to be completed as far as our building department is concerned, and we just don't have very much leverage to move that project along. And then there's another project up on White Plains Road. It's kind of catty corner from the Ward building. It was sold in the same parcel that the Ward building was sold to a developer. And we have those plans in review in the building department right now, so we expect that that plan will be coming up on a planning board meeting soon. So if individuals are interested to see what that's going to look like, we hear it's very nice. They can watch that planning board meeting. For the community, I just wanted to remind everybody that the Eastchester School Board meeting will be tomorrow evening at 7:30. There'll be a presentation on high school STEM, as well as the plan for the kindergarten through 12th grade guidance counseling, the district plan. That'll be presented to the board. And the working meeting will be on January 24th. And February is the usual time when they open the application process for individuals who run for school board. So that's Eastchester, and I'm pretty sure Tuckahoe will be on the same schedule. So you can not only go to the Board of Ed meetings, you can actually run to be a trustee. In Eastchester High School, the Jazz Co. will host a weekend of dance February 9th to 12th in the high school auditorium. And the student government will be hosting a Rock Against Cancer, where they'll considering all dancing, singing, acting, and comedy acts. And that will take place March 3rd at the high school. So I just wanted to, again, congratulate Max. I mean, seeing Max here and his family and hearing everything from the History Committee and Josh Gascione's presentation just reminds me what a really smart and wonderful community we have. So I want to thank you all for that. Valentine's Day and President's Day are coming up, so please make reservations at your favorite Tuckahoe restaurant and buy lots of stuff at the bakery.
Yes.
Thanks.
Thank you. Trustee Taylor.
The ECAP will be having a food pantry on Wednesday, the 15th of this month. This is only for the seniors. That you have their normal pantry on the first Wednesday of each month, but this month on the 15th, they're having another one for seniors, and that age is 60 years and older. Josh Gascione, veteran Josh Gascione, that presentation he did on Robert Smalls was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. And there is a extensive list of African Americans throughout history who have contributed inventions, major inventions to this country, this great country that we live in. So for Black History Month, you can, I'm sure we Google everything. You can Google a list of Black inventors going back to the 1700s, and it will blow your mind. I also want to say congrats to Max. Max has been what I believe my son Daryl's best friend for many years. My son spends as much time as the Pierce household as he does at home.
There's good food there.
Max, his achievement, the things that he has done selflessly, and given back to the community. I myself benefited from mentors and coaches and different people when I was younger, and inspired me to also coach youth sports. So, there are a lot of people that do a lot of things in life, but when you give back to your community, that is a major achievement. That is something that you definitely should be recognized for. So congrats on your achievements and your awards. I'd like to say congrats to Officer Madden on his DARE appointment. And I believe that's it. Oh, sorry, I got a couple of announcements. We had two members of Tuckahoe community that have passed recently, and so I want to mention them. And the first one is Nelson Thomas. Nelson grew up in Tuckahoe. He moved to Virginia, but he passed away on the 31st. So many people of this village, and especially District 14, grew up with Nelson, and they know Nelson and the Thomas family. So I'd like to give condolences to his family. And then also, just the other day, I believe it was Sunday, Derek Scholes. Derek was a resident of Tuckahoe for 27 years, the common law husband of Stephanie Palmer. Pretty much everybody knows Stephanie Palmer and the Palmer family. So we would like to give our condolences to the Thomas and Scholes Palmer family on the passing of their loved ones. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Taylor. Trustee Cronin?
Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. From the Tuckahoe Seniors, tomorrow they are celebrating Black History Month with a program called Culture Enriches Your Soul. That's at 12 o'clock. And next week they are having a Valentine's Day lunch. It's $16 per person. And if you are interested in participating, please reach out to the new director, Alicia Scaramouzer-Jones. As for going on to TESC, the River Sweep will be Saturday, May 6th. So if you are interested in signing up, this is really an excellent event. You can come out and help us clean up the area in and around the Bronx River Parkway, and then we sometimes go and venture out to the surrounding neighborhood. So please come down if you have a group of people who want to come down. It's a really nice event, and hopefully by May it'll be nice and warm. Look out for Tusk videos talking about the changeover from gas powered to electrical powered devices to help clean up your yard. So leaf blowers and other devices. And then the Juneteenth committee is planning an event for Black History Month on February 25th at 5 o'clock at the community center. I believe it'll be a painting event. Like a paint and sip minus the sip, because no alcohol at the community center. But we'll bring some sparkling cider. But we'll put some information out about that in the coming days, and we hope to see everybody there. And that's it. That's all I have today.
Thank you, trustee. I just want to make a note. I was just looking at this young man at the front of the room, and I remember a visit from Carlos Rodriguez, who's sitting with us. He's 21 years old, and he came to Village Hall to ask what he can do for Tuckahoe. And that, really warmed my heart. He did not let it go either. I didn't get right back to him, and he texted me and said, "Hi, I'm still interested." And so I just want to thank, the young people like Max and Carlos who are, who show their interest and their care for their community enough that they say, "I want to give back," no matter what else they're doing. Very accomplished young men. So thank you, Carlos, for being here, and thank you for showing interest in your community.
Yep, give him a hand.
I want to put an exclamation point on what our chief already spoke about regarding the incident with Tyree Nichols, and to also reiterate some of the points that he make about the training that happens in Tuckahoe. A couple of people called me and asked, when these things happen, what does the village do? What does the police department do? And so the chief and I talked, and, when these things happen, we have conversations about what are some of the things that we could do? What more can we do to make sure that this doesn't happen here in Tuckahoe? We have an amazing police department, and I don't say that lightly. We have a really amazing police department. And I'm also very aware of how quickly things can go awry. And so that's why I think it's so important for us to keep talking. And these workshops it just so happened that they were already having their workshop. It was already scheduled for Thursday and Friday. And so I think it's also a matter of culture. The culture in any organization, in any agency, you can see it in the behavior of the people in that organization. And so, I really was grateful. I posted about it and said I really felt there was a sense of comfort when I heard that this happened, feeling like in Tuckahoe, we have a good handle on this. And so for those who called and asked, I just want to reiterate there's constant training happening within the police department. And there's also a culture that has been developed over time. And, thanks to the leadership in the department and the good hires that have been made throughout the years. So thank you, Chief. I thank the lieutenants and all the police officers and the detectives for the wonderful work that you're doing here. We appreciate it. And I wanted to make sure that we said that. And I know the board has the same feeling. I want to let everyone know that Buleria Tapas is officially open. We had the ribbon cutting on January 12th, and if you have not been there, you should check it out. I've been there a couple of times, and I'm trying to go through the menu, see all the things that I like for those foodies out there. Also, congratulations to Planning Board member Paul Wolfson. I had the honor of officiating his wedding ceremony over the weekend. So congratulations to the newlyweds. And also congratulations to Officer Madden for his training for the DARE officers, certified DARE officer. It's 80 hours of training. The course is 80 hours. I looked it up just to see, what it entails. So it's a really intense kind of program, and I didn't realize that until I looked it up to see what they have to go through. So they really are like 2 weeks worth of work. that they do to prepare to become DARE, what are they, DARE officers. Yeah, so congratulations to Madden as well as the Eastchester officer, John Castellano, and officer in Scarsdale, Mark Akara. Congratulations on your accomplishment. And I want to just give you guys a quick highlight of the governor's budget report. One specific issue that came up that has been circulating within different municipalities, and I'm part of like a little mayor's club, and everyone's been talking about the New York Housing Compact. And this, if it's enacted, this proposal, if it's enacted, it's really aimed at something really needed, which is housing, right? Everyone, I've gotten, I can't tell you how many calls and emails I get about housing in Tuckahoe, people looking for apartments and for homes, and they cannot find anything that they can afford. So the spirit of this proposal is worthy. The issue that many of us are taking is that if it passes, it would allow the state in certain circumstances to override our local zoning laws. And so that we take issue with. We have had conversations with the governor's office. We also rely on NICOM, the New York Conference of Mayors, you've heard me talk about. They're advocating, and they're actually now in the winter legislative meeting that's happening today and tomorrow. And they do have members of the governor's office on housing that's there at the meeting to talk about what are some of the concerns that we have. So there's nothing happening with this right now. Nothing is passed. This is all proposal, and we'll continue to let the governor know where we stand on this. So I wanted to give you guys that update, and that is all I have for tonight. And that will take us to second opportunity to address the board on any agenda items or not. So anyone would like to address the board? Come on up, Rita.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Well, I'm here tonight to thank the Village of Tuckahoe for helping to make the 11th annual Forever Rallying for Regina Blood Drive a wonderful success. We truly appreciate the combined efforts of our community, including the mayor and the village board, Chief Costanza in the police department, John Galuzzi and Daniel at the Tuckahoe Community Center, volunteers, neighbors, and friends. We would not be celebrating the ongoing success of this event without Tuckahoe's full support. So thank you very much. At Saturday's blood drive, we collected 48 units of blood plus 6 double reds. Wow. That helps over 100 people.
Wow, that deserves an.
Few potential donors attempted to give blood, but were turned away for a variety of procedural limitations, but we thank them for trying. Thanks to my Forever Rallying for Regina Relay for Life team for hosting the event in memory of my niece. Our team's raffle and bake sale at the event raised thousands of dollars for the American Cancer Society.
Nice, wow. Nice.
Great, great.
Congratulations to the lucky winners of our 26 prizes. Mm-hmm. And they were all donated by family and friends and some local businesses, including even outside of our area, because my community stretches to another town too, which is nice. Special thanks to Mr. Gerard Marinaccio, who volunteers each year to educate our community about the importance of the gift of life through organ donation. And thanks again to our wonderful Tuckahoe community who continue to remind us of their generosity in really every possible way. And all of the discussion tonight, all of the people in town and the youth and all of us, this really is a special community. Mm-hmm. I used to say that we came for the commute and we stayed for the community. Anyway, and then most importantly, we thank the donors who contributed blood, because it really is the gift of life and there's no substitute for human blood. So with Tuckahoe's support, we've already planned the next blood drive for next year on February 3rd, 2024, so mark your calendars. And we hope the community will join us in continued efforts to raise money for the important research of the American Cancer Society. We'll soon be announcing the upcoming program, Stick a Fork in Cancer, sponsored by local restaurants in Tuckahoe and Eastchester. It's going to start on February 27th and run through March 27th. I can't announce the restaurants yet because we're still working on the list, and I don't want to name some and not all of them yet, but I'll come back. And everybody wins, of course, when you stick a fork in cancer. Community members are welcome to join our team or start their own team to participate in the annual Eastchester Relay for Life. That event is for the benefit of the American Cancer Society, and it will be held on Saturday, May 13th at Lake Isle. And I will return to give more information about that too, because there are lots of ways people can participate, and we welcome the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay.
Good evening again.
Good evening.
I cannot leave without saying thank you to the board. I've been around a lot of boards, but this board is personal, not because of the work you've done with COVID, the work you've done with the floods, and we got good results, by the way, Darryl, with the flood, Ida, and with the work you've done with the parks and recreation, with the children. It's, and even in our churches. I mean, we see you everywhere. And it's a blessing just to see you, know you by your first name. It's personal. So I just want to thank you for the work you're doing. And it makes me feel good to know that we're underneath a board that is working hard for the village. And to Chief Costanza, keeping this village safe and out of harm's way. It's a blessing to know you can go out of your house, you don't have to look over your shoulder. Well, you got to look anyway, but be careful. And, you know, there's no gangs, no graffiti, it's just a beautiful village to live in. And it's not like it used to be. I mean, we're not going to say, hey, Joe, across the street, and let's sit down and talk. You don't know a lot of people, but that's comes with change. As you get older, change comes. So I expect that, but I'm just so glad the way Tuckahoe is moving, and I'm looking forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate it. It's our pleasure to serve you all. Anyone else? Anyone in person?
Still on Zoom?
Is there someone on Zoom? Ginger? Go right ahead, Ginger.
That's somebody, hey, you got it. I just wanted to be clear on, is 26th the Verizon station we should be watching on, or is it now
34. 34.
34. And how do you get that information out to the public that we would know that that change came about?
Well, we didn't know until just now because there was a problem with Verizon, so we have.
Oh, it's nothing that's been in place, it's just something new that happened?
Correct. If there is a change, we will send an email, a blast email out and put it on our social media.
Getting feedback.
Okay, thank you, I just wanted clarification.
Okay. Is there anyone else on Zoom? Okay, Donald?
Here.
Is Tuckahoe the only village that's advocating the 25 miles per hour speed limit?
That's a good question. I'm glad you mentioned that, Donald. Bronxville has already passed it. Yeah, I think you have to mute somebody. So far in our neighboring communities, Scarsdale has not yet. I'm not sure if they're setting the public hearing yet, but I know Bronxville has set the public hearing and has passed the change to lower the speed limit as well. So I've been in communication with Mayor Marvin and the other municipalities that are nearby. And so people are considering in some cases, some have already passed, and some are not sure if they're going to. Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anyone else? Okay.
Mike.
Thank you. Could the board supply the first and last names of Max's mom and his grandmother? I am writing a report of the board meeting for those who are interested.
Nice. So the grandmother is Lovely Billups. Lovely H. Billups. Lovely Lovely, like isn't she lovely? And Billups, Billups, and his mom, Lovely Hill Billups.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
We'll send it to you. Deputy Mayor Howell will send it to you if that's okay.
Perfect, that's wonderful.
Okay,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. We're gonna send it.
I'm gonna send it to her.
Yeah. And the mother, so everyone knows, is Gina Billups Pierce. Is there anyone else? Okay. And just for those who may not have caught the meeting, it has been recorded. I just got a text from the deputy clerk who's busy working from home. She said the meeting did record and they can see it on the web soon. So we will have the video on web if you weren't able to log in because of whatever issues Verizon was having. So unless there's anyone else that would like to address the board, we will adjourn this meeting and we'll see you on March 6th, not 7th. Good night, Tuckahoe.
Good night.